Well, hello enemies, book lovers. My name is Ash and welcome back to my channel. This is the second installment of reading dark romance and seeing if I actually genuinely like any of them. So far, it's been a bit rocky, but we're only 2 books in and there are 13 to go, so maybe I will continue and actually like them. Of course, yet again, I have my ranking system. I'm going to be doing a tier list of how dark these dark romances are. I don't really have a lot of experience in the dark romance category, so some of these might move as I go. You might rank these a little bit differently, but for me at least, this is kind of like my ranking system of how dark they are. Not how good they are, just how dark they are. So far, I've read Maybe Next Time by Christina C. Jones. I think I gave this around 3 stars. Then I read Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. I gave that at 2 stars. And the next one I'm gonna be reading is, I don't know anything about it. So let's go and talk about what this one's gonna be about because I really don't know. I'm gonna be reading 2 books for this video. The first one is going to be Carnage. This is the first book in the 4 Horsemen series. There are 4 books total, and this is written by Sarah Bailey. I don't know what this is about, so I'm gonna just read it quickly. Okay, so the only thing I really got from the synopsis is that Scarlett comes back to the place that the 4 Horsemen live, and I guess they have a past with her, even though she doesn't really remember them. They remember her, and she's coming back, and they're going to cause trouble with her coming back. It kind of gives me the same vibe as Corrupt, which is making me a little bit nervous, but I don't really know much about this otherwise. It doesn't have as many ratings as Corrupted did. I think Corrupt had like 52,000, and this one only has 8,000, so it's not as well known in regards to the dark romance category. I've never really heard anyone talk about it. This book is 394 pages, so it's actually relatively small. Anything under like 400 pages is pretty short for me, so this one, it definitely does give me the vibe of Corrupt. I don't know if it's like the same, if it's a similar concept. The synopsis is very vague, so I'm gonna give it a shot and just tell you how I feel about it and update you and read about it. I'm gonna make it a little less spoilery in the beginning of my conversation about the book, and then maybe near the end of the book I will kind of spoil it a little bit more and then give an unspoiler review at the end. Let's just start with the first book, Carnage, and see how I feel about it and update you as I read. Ta-da! It is June 3rd. I think I updated you last mid to late May. So as you can see, I haven't really read or updated in a while. Actually, I only just started Carnage yesterday. I think I'm only 3 chapters into Carnage, and let's just say I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about it yet. I mean, I know I just started it. 3 chapters is not enough time. Last night I was tired, so I'm gonna give it another shot. The thing about this book though is that within like the first chapter, I realized that the writing style is just, I don't know how to explain it, but you know, we just don't really jive with the writing style. This is giving me that vibe. So usually I would just DNF this instantaneously. I just don't know why. I have the feeling that this writing style is just not for me. But I'm gonna try my best to just continue it and try it anyway, because 3 chapters is definitely not enough time. The heroine hasn't even met the men yet. And I just realized yesterday, I was talking to my boyfriend and he knows I'm doing this video project because sometimes I just tell him what's happening on BookTube. And then I joked around with him saying like, I don't only read Why Choose. Like, I obviously read books with only a female and male protagonist, like just them, just a monogamous relationship, right? There's no multiple love interests. Well, I learned literally yesterday that this series is Why Choose. I thought there was 4 books because there was 4 men and they would be with different women. A lot of authors do that with a romance book, especially like lately. I feel like it's a big thing lately. Well, lo and behold, it is a Why Choose. So it's one character with like the 4 horsemen. I've only just started it. I shouldn't really be giving it that much of a, you know, critical eye. It's just that when I first started reading it, it just feels like a book I would usually DNF if I wasn't doing a video project on it. I'm gonna try at least getting, I would say like 100 pages into it before I decide to just call it quits and DNF it. So if I get 100 pages in and I just don't like it, I will DNF it for the video, but I'm gonna try my best to continue it. I feel like the next clip will really determine if I continue it or not, because I'm not gonna be reading this for a long time if I'm not enjoying it. That being said, we do have the 4 characters. 2 of them are blonde, which is unfortunate for me. I'm sorry, I just don't really like blonde love interests. One has black hair, his name is Drake. He's most interesting to me because he has black hair and blue eyes. I am simple and very typical. It's just how I am, unfortunately. She met with one of them. She met with Drake, who is like the CEO. They all work under their business and they all have different reasons for being in the business. One's a CEO, one's there for finance, one's there for promoting it, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, we're following it right now. She met Drake and it was very anticlimactic. There was no introduction to really them meeting each other. It was just her going into the room and she sees him and they start talking. It was like really fine. It didn't really seem like it was that great. I don't know. The writing style, the way that it's written, isn't really for me, but I'm gonna keep continuing it anyway and seeing if I enjoy it. If I don't like this, hopefully the next book, the 4th book in this video, will be better. I want to at least get to like some of the moments as to why it's dark. I feel like other than the maybe they'll be mean to her and then she doesn't like them, she wants to get like back at them. I don't even know why. She wants to like end them. Gee, girl, what the hell? What do they do to you? Like I said, I will continue it. I am curious. I just feel like is just not the most gripping in the beginning so far. So I will see if that changes. The next clip should dictate if I will continue it or not. So let's go and see if I do, I guess, and hopefully I do, because it would suck if I DNF'd this fast. It's June 21st. I think it's been over 2 weeks since I filmed anything at all, and I'm here to actually, you know, film something. And that being me talking about how I DNF'd Carnage. I believe I got 100 pages in, 25%. I was so bored, you guys. I just had no reason to continue it. The men were just boring. It was wide shoes, which I like wide shoes, but the first page, like the first chapter, I already knew I was not gonna like it, and I just can't get into it. I can't get into it. So because of that, DNFing Carnage, I just, like I said, can't get into it. So I'm just gonna like quickly just go to my next book, and I will rank. I mean, I can't even rank Carnage because I didn't even read it, so that one's kind of just being like non-applicable. But the next book I'm hoping I will enjoy and I have a little bit more hope for. Maybe. I think this one's a little bit more common in regards to the dark romance. I feel like this one's a little bit more popular. This is Hooked by Emily McIntire. This is the Never After series. Like I said, I think I've heard a lot about this series. This is obviously going to be a Peter Pan reimagining, except instead of Peter Pan, where actually the love interest is Captain Hook, which, I mean, sounds like a fun time. I kind of like the concept of the villain falling for the protagonist. I haven't read it before, but I like the concept of it. So I'm going to just start that because I've been putting this off for so long because I just didn't really want to film, and now I'm going to film this and edit it, and hopefully I'm going to read Hooked and actually enjoy it. But if I have more to talk about it, I'll talk about it at the end of the video when it comes to Carnage. Right now I'm just going to try Hooked because I really want to read a romance I enjoy and a dark romance I enjoy. So I'm just really hoping I get to that point at some point within this series. I don't know. I'm gonna get a little bit nervous. I feel like the darker it gets, the harder it's going to be for me to enjoy them, but I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly surprised. So yes, I'm going to be getting to Hooked, putting my AC on, my fan on, and cooling off a bit. And I'm hoping I will enjoy this. So I'll see if I like Hooked. Fingers crossed I do. Oh my goodness, hello, hi, I'm in my bedroom. This might be the last time you are in my bedroom because I'm going to be moving in a few weeks. So this is probably the last time you'll see this bookshelf. Actually, you'll see it again, just not like this. My bookshelf in all its glory. So yeah, I'll probably be moving soon. But until then, let me just talk about Hooked by Emily McIntire. It's a Kindle book, so I don't really remember very well. Regardless, I will very vaguely talk about this book. I am 20% through Hooked, and it is actually not too bad right now. I feel like I don't mind it so much. I actually kind of think, the thing is, I always like books when it starts, and then it kind of sometimes goes downhill afterward. So right now I'm saying I like it, but I don't know for sure if I will continue that. It starts off with Hook, or James, who's the main character, obviously based off of Captain Hook, and we see him and his uncle, and it's a flashback to the past. And all I'm gonna say is Hook is very much not afraid of offing people. So we will see this a few times within this story. He's very protective of the protagonist, which, I mean, I don't really mind that much. I think that as long as he's not hurting the love interest, I don't really mind. I mean, I know it's dark romance, I know what I'm going into, so if the male character is like offing people, you know what? Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Something's wrong with me. Something is wrong with me, guys. We cut to the present tense where we see Wendy. She is 20 years old. Thank goodness we have a 20-year-old character, not like an 18-year-old character. This is great to see. So far, even if I don't love the book, at least there's some green flags to some extent in dark romance, but there's still some flags, okay? She's with a group of women. They're not very nice to her. They want to go to a club. She says no at first, but then they kind of like peer pressure her, and she's like, fine, I'll go. She goes, and of course she sees Hook himself, who is of course the owner of the club. He instantly has an attraction toward her and wants to learn more about her and want to get close to her, and you know, etc, etc. James in the story is 26. He's only 6 years older than her. I love this. I love it already. It's great. So far, this is a good, you know, stepping stone. It might go downhill, but I'm still looking forward to it being, you know, better than what I've seen in the past. There's no weird age issues, so that so far is a good step in the right direction. But Peter Pan is Wendy's dad. So the Peter Pan character is Wendy's father, which is interesting, an interesting concept. And Hook wants to get back at the father because he hates him, of course, because, you know, he's based off of Peter Pan. So he tries to get back at the father, and so he's going to corrupt and destroy Wendy, as you can assume what that would mean. I'm assuming he's going to be with her for that reason,
but eventually, inevitably, fall in love with her, or at least like her. I don't know, probably fall in love with her though, because we know how romance books go. We do see Hook following her home a little bit, so there's a little bit of that as well sprinkled into this. But I think along with the following, I mean, he's also, you know, this man has trauma and he gets triggered by a certain thing, and it's a little bit sad to see because I feel bad for him, but also he needs therapy very badly. He needs help, but I don't know if he's ever going to get help. I think he's going to get something else, if you know what I mean, that's going to help fix him. Unfortunately, I don't think that's how it works in real life. If that was the case, you know, medicine wouldn't exist. That being said, I am looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm 20% in, so I am 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm a fifth the way through. I actually had to do the math for that. That's embarrassing. Listen, I was never good at math. I can read. Math, though, that's a different story. Seeing how far I can get through this before my life just starts to spin and the whole moving process happens and dentist appointments and all that fun stuff is going to be happening soon. So it's going to be a stressful month, but maybe dark romance will get me through the stress. Now that's an interesting concept. Anyway, yeah, let me go and do that. About a month and a half since I filmed last, and as you can see, I'm in a different place. Maybe you don't really notice it because I don't really go in my kitchen anyway, but this is the only place that is not full of boxes, so this is where we're gonna film for the time being. I moved on July 30th. I got my wisdom teeth taken out on the 31st, and it is now the 7th. Honestly, the wisdom teeth thing, I was awake, I was not gassed, I was fully conscious. It wasn't very fun, it wasn't very good at all, but you know, it's fine, I'm alive, I'm here, and I went through it, and it's been 7 days, and I'm fine. Actually, I had a really good and easy recovery, so I cannot complain at all. The only thing I'm really complaining about is having mashed potatoes every single day. Otherwise, I've been actually really well. In the meantime, I'm going to finally be continuing Hooked. I have been reading this, kind of. I would say I mostly read it about like a month ago, and then I kind of put it down because I wanted to film before I got too far into it. I'm 61% in now, and not a whole lot has happened. I feel like a lot has happened, but also not really that much. Now, it has been a month, so I don't remember a whole lot. So in that case, I'm going to try my best to kind of recap what happened. This might start getting into spoiler territory because we are in the like 50% mark. So if you want to read Hooked yourself, do not read from this point forward. This will be the spoiler thoughts and stuff. At the end, when I rank it on the chart, I will talk about it overall. For the time being, I'm going to be spoiling Hooked from this point forward. Last we checked off, Wendy and Hook were getting, you know, down to business. Hook is an interesting character because Hook has the mindset of, I like her, but I need to use her and I need to get to her father and, you know, do things with her so that her father gets mad. And I get it in a sense, but it is not good. But it's dark romance. In dark romance, red flags are sometimes seen as a good thing. So we'll look past that for now and move on to the next part. So Hook has like a guy, I forgot his name because like I said, I have read this like a month ago. There's a guy he's really close to that he kind of grew up with that kind of raised him, kind of like a father figure. And he's a really good guy. I really do like him. And he's like there for Hook all the time. He's a good person to Hook, father figure. What can go wrong? You know, he's not alive anymore. He was brutally strung up and his entrails were out of his body. So he's not alive anymore. And Hook was really upset. And he, for some reason, jumped to a conclusion that Wendy must have been, you know, a distraction so that Peter, her father, can, you know, can off the man that he cared for and get to him, get close to him, distract him, because he was going to go with his friend, but he ended up staying with Wendy instead. And so he blames Wendy and thinks that she was there to distract him so that her father could get back at his friend. That's a lot of words. I haven't spoken in a while. I'm sorry. My mouth is still hurting a little bit. It's only been 1 week. So talking a lot is very strange to do. I haven't done that in a while. So he wants to get revenge on Wendy because he believes that she is the sole reason why his friend is not alive anymore, even though that's a very big conclusion to jump to. Maybe, you know, fact check first, but that is impossible. You cannot fact check in romances because miscommunication is key to drama. Unfortunately, he ends up going to Wendy and kind of kidnapping her in a way. He like takes her and brings her to his yacht. He ties her up, and this is when he gets a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit, you know, DA a little bit, because he does like manhandle her roughly and her wrists are becoming irritated because of the bindings. So in this entire time, she's still into him and he's always like pushing himself against her and he wants her, but he's, no, I can't do that because she's the reason why my friend's not alive anymore. So it's a very weird concept because he doesn't like her and he wants to get revenge on her, but he still wants to do stuff with her. It's a little bit much. It's a little much. He ends up wanting to go to a public event with her to kind of show her on his side with her father there, to kind of get back at the dad. So he ends up forcing her to come to this event with her. They're going to this event and they are currently in a limo heading toward it. I am 62% of the way through, which is chapter 30, and I'm over halfway, which is nice. I'm on page 185 of 300. Let me tell you my overall thoughts so far. So I'm probably gonna update you either if anything interesting happens or at the end of the book, because I don't want to ramble too much more because I've already done it for 10 minutes. I actually don't think I hate this. The rating on Goodreads is a little bit lower. I think it's like 3.75, so it doesn't have a high rating, but I don't think it's bad. I actually kind of prefer this over Corrupt because it, at least in my opinion, has more interest, and Hook is somewhat more likable. He has a little bit more of a reason to be being the way he is with Wendy. I mean, he doesn't have like proof, but at the same time, people in Corrupt didn't have proof either. I feel like Wendy is okay. She's not the most likable either. I mean, she's kind of just there, being there for the male love interest, and she's kind of just like walked on, although she does have a backbone, so I do appreciate her having a backbone because sometimes that doesn't happen. So I feel like that's a lot more common nowadays, having like a female with a very feisty attitude. I don't mind it, but she does have a little bit of that in her, which is, I guess, better than just being a damsel in distress all the time. Hook, like I said, he's okay. This is obviously a little bit darker than Corrupt because Hook is taking the lives of other people, and people are actually, you know, they're I guess there are darker topics in this, but it doesn't go too far, which I kind of appreciate personally, because I don't want a book that goes really, really far into the dark, because I think sometimes that's a bit too much, at least for me. That is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be continuing it and reading it. I do like it, but I don't absolutely love it, although at least it's something that I'm kind of enjoying reading the process of, so that's good. At least I'm enjoying the process of reading. That is a positive. It is funny though, because I'm reading Hooked and I am reading like 4 books alongside of it. This kind of goes to show how diverse my reading taste is. I read so many different genres, and my current read right now that I'm trying to focus on mainly, other than Hooked of course, is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I am reading this right now. I'm trying to read the Cosmere in the order that Brandon Sanderson himself recommended on his channel, and so I am reading Warbreaker and I'm having a great time with Warbreaker. It's at least a 4 stars if not higher. And then we have Hooked, which is fine, it's okay. Listen, I think that Hooked isn't bad. I think I'm enjoying it. I do want to see what happens. I already feel like it's just going to end up being them falling in love with each other. Regardless, I'm going to try and continue it and see how I feel about it. I might be in the kitchen again when I come back because the living room is a mess, and my extra room where my bookshelves are has bad lighting for one, and also is the area that has a lot of the boxes in it because it's like kind of like the storage room right now. Kind of sad I don't have any rainbow on me. We have a back door that has this kind of thing on it that makes a rainbow go on the floor. Oh my gosh, Warbreaker. That is so pretty. I'll do a video. I'll show you a video of what my back door does to my room when the sun hits it. I have one in my kitchen and I have one in my bathroom. It's so pretty, and it has like a little rainbow design. It's so pretty, and I just realized Warbreaker. It's perfect for that. Anyway, sorry. I am so easily distracted. I deeply apologize. I'm going to be continuing Hooked, and I hopefully will enjoy it to some extent. I don't think I'm going to hate it though, so that is that's a plus, okay? As long as it's not as bad as Corrupt or like some other books I've read in my life that were taboo / dark, I think this is not too bad. So I'm going to continue this hopefully soon. Who knows, it might be another month until I update you last, but right now it's August 7th, so let's see how long it takes me to get to the next chapter, or like the next part of this video. I'm on my couch. I'm going to be finishing Hooked by Emily McIntire, and I did in fact find my ranking system, so I will do this at the end of the video. I'm going to try to make the ending of the video kind of quick, just like a quick recap of how I felt overall, but until then I am going to be finishing Hooked,
and sitting on my couch and doing like a little bit of a, it's not really going to be b-roll of me reading. I'm pretty much just going to show my reactions as I read and like clip the parts that I actually react and talk about things. I am almost done though. I am on page 250 out of 300, and there was a review that said that the last 50 pages are crazy in a good way, so I am very invested. All right, I'm going to be finishing this book and hopefully I enjoy it. What a way to start. I just started. It's been 2 days since he effed me on the desk. It's been 2 sentences. I forgot about the necklace. He gave her a choker that has a GPS tracker in it. And he's like, don't take it off. Okay. He tells her to keep it on and she wonders why. And then he says, I like knowing jewels are decorating your skin. That's it. He doesn't tell her the truth. There's a 99% chance that James or Hook is going to be betrayed by his lackey, Starkey. At least Hook is suspicious of him, but I feel like he probably should be more suspicious than he actually is, because he's definitely gonna do something, 100%. She mentions grandchildren and she's like, it's not like we're gonna have kids anytime soon, despite the fact that they've been doing it without protection. And in the very beginning of the book, he mentions like putting a baby in her. I mean, technically, yes, it will be soon if you don't, you know, be careful. That's how that works, by the way. My goodness. That's the iconic line. I feel like I always see this quote. You want to watch the world burn? Let me guess, you'll set it on fire. And he says, no darling, I'll hand you the match, stand at your back, watching you become the queen of ashes. Not that great, but it's not bad. It's like kind of like a fantasy line, you know, the queen of ashes. That's pretty cool. Not biased because my name is Books to Ashes, but that's pretty cool. I'm gonna highlight it because it is iconic. I will admit that. They're about to get dirty, you know, down to business. I feel like whatever happens after this is gonna be bad. You know, there's always like the romantic sleeping together scene, and then it happens like she's gonna get kidnapped. I am pretty sure that's gonna happen, and it's not gonna be Hook this time that does it. So that's, I guess, a positive, because he's going to be saving her for once instead of taking her against her will. So, and the GPS necklace is gonna be what saves her life. So it technically all works out in the end. Putting a GPS in your girlfriend's necklace is totally fine if it means you save her life. That's the moral of the story, I think. Please. James says, I have dinner planned, but I feel as if I deserve a treat. Oh my god. He sucks my tongue into his mouth. Ugh. So cheesy. Highlight. I have to say, steamy scenes aren't bad, but they are very raunchy, that's for sure. Oh my gosh. Aw, she said she loves him, but he couldn't admit it yet. Well, after she gets taken, he will say it to her, 100%. I'm on chapter 42. It went from them just getting it on to James having a bunch of people locked up in the basement. So that was a definite 180. I wasn't expecting that. I know what technique he's using. He's using the old medieval technique of putting a bucket with rats inside of it and putting fire on one side so that they burrow the other direction. Classic. You know, a weird thing about me is I like to look at things that fascinate me and like research them. When I was young, I like to look at different torture techniques from, you know, like the past few decades. And so I just have really random knowledge about torture techniques. Don't ask me how I know, but I was a weird kid and I like to watch stuff like that on YouTube and stuff. It's just weirdly, oddly fascinating. It's kind of like crime podcasts. Now that I think about it, it's weird I did that when I was like a teenager. Anyway, that's what James is doing right now. / Hook, same person. It's getting intense, so Pikachu's gonna have to sit on the sidelines this time. Oh, it's so cute. James is calling Wendy's brother to like check up on him. That's so cute. Oddly wholesome, but we also just saw a scene with him. I guess we don't have to worry about that. That's not important. Reminder to hydrate. Make sure you drink, everyone. So Wendy's father has a girlfriend named Tina, and she attacked Wendy. There's 25 pages left. I'm on page 275. So we're getting to the good parts, I think. I'm excited about this.
So Moira shows up, James attacks her, surprisingly, and she says, "You can't off me because I know where Wendy is and she's been taken, dun 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 dun." So now we're gonna move on to him looking for her, which is my favorite part. I always thought that I had known fear. I was wrong, because I have never known the icy grip of true terror as I do when Wendy's name passes Moira's lips. So good. So the necklace saves her life. So I guess at the end of the day, it was worth it. I wouldn't recommend it in real life. If someone were to consensually say, yeah, you can have something that tracks me so that way I am safe, that is completely fine. But doing it against their will is a bit strange. I also feel like she wouldn't have minded, maybe, if he just asked her, but whatever. Smee? I should have known. I feel like that was the most unobvious, which would have been the most obvious. Smee, you bastard. Smee's father was probably the uncle that James, you know, so I'm assuming that's why he hates James now, because he offed his father. I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. You know, I can't even be mad at Smee for that. But also, his uncle was a horrible person. Like, he was disgusting. So I also feel like he deserved it. So a bunch of people in his group betrayed him because they've done a lot of wrongs to them. Like I said, I almost don't blame them because James isn't a good person, so it's kind of valid. I feel kind of bad for James. They're pretty much triggering him purposefully to see if he will do anything against them so that they can hurt Wendy. This is actually really sad. Your brother? Wait, what? Your brother looks like you? What brother? Wait, you're telling me that James and Wendy share the same brother? So Wendy and James have different parents, but one of the parents on either side with the same, you know, together, they had a child. That is such a weird, I can't even conceptualize that. So they share a brother. James and Wendy share a brother. Weird, but they're not related. Wendy and James are not related, but they share a brother, half brother, both of them. That is so weird. Like, and that's just strange. I've never heard of that in my life. The greatest thing I've ever done in my life was to love you, Wendy, darling. But stop. Oh my god, Wendy. So Wendy just offed her father's girlfriend? Wife? I don't know. Tina. She's gone. It feels so weird that her mom slept with James's dad. They had a baby. That's so weird. It's not, like, technically wrong because they don't share parents. Like, James and Wendy aren't related, but it's such a weird concept that they both share a brother. It's such a... I didn't even realize that could be possible. Does that make sense? But it's weird. If they both had children, if James and Wendy had a child, her brother and his brother would be the same uncle on both sides. It's weird. It's weird. She just used the weapon against her father. Well, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but well. Not in the back of a limo. The limo driver can hear you. I feel so bad for the person driving that limo. We got the epilogue. They're gonna be children. Probably, and they're gonna be named after the other characters from Peter Pan, probably. It's only been 2 years. They couldn't have had more than one, if any. Well, technically they could have had 2. They're crazy. Oh, they got married? What the I knew it. She's pregnant with a second kid. It's been 2 years. Nothing's wrong with, if you have a child and they're less than 2 years apart, nothing against you. It's just that these two should not be going that fast. They need help first. Okay, well, they're married and she's pregnant with their second child within 2 years. That is insane. So the first one just learned how to walk. Okay, so it's like 1.5 years. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, why is that kind of cute? They named their first son Rue, which is the guy that kind of helped raise James and was murdered by her father, or like the people in the organization. Regardless, that's very cute. It's just a bit weird that he mentions, we didn't know it then, but she was pregnant when we buried her father. It's a very weird sentence to read. I'm done. I've officially finished Hooked. I kind of liked it. So, Hooked. Finished it 10 seconds ago. Overall thoughts. I think I'm going to give it, I was going to give it a 3, but I really did like the ending. It made me, like, if the ending was the entire book, this would have been at like 4 stars. But the ending made me want to bring it to like a 3.25, maybe a 3.5, rounded down to a 3. So right at this moment, I would probably give it 3.5, but rounded to a 3 because Goodreads doesn't allow half stars. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever read. I know there's probably better dark romance out there, and there's better romance for sure out there, but I had a good time with it. I think that this, compared to all the other books I've read so far for this, there's only been 3, but so far this is my favorite one. I really enjoyed it. There was darker themes in this in comparison to the other 2, because obviously, you know, it's getting in the darker realm, and we have James actually, you know, becoming he's like a villain, you know. I mean, he's based off of a villain character from a fairy tale, so it makes sense that he is quote unquote evil, and I can see that. I mean, he's not a good person, but he's good to her, at least in the later half. I didn't like him in the beginning because he was kind of abusive in a way. I mean, he took her against her will and was a bit forceful with her. So yeah, there's problematic aspects in that, but I personally had fun with it, and that's what matters. Apologies for the sun. The sun is setting. It's almost 8 p.m. So I'm just gonna wrap this up really quickly. When it comes to Carnage, I just got bored of it. Overall thoughts on that is just that I just didn't really enjoy it that much. I was reading it, and within the first, I think, page, I already said this earlier, but the first page, I was instantly not really interested anymore. Like, I wasn't jiving with the writing style. The men weren't really interesting to me. I just didn't really have any reason to continue it or even really go much further than like the first chapter. I did try. I think I said I did around 25%. I at least read 100 pages. I just couldn't get into it. And I know I missed out on the romance and the dark aspects, but I just couldn't do it. I am so sorry. I just couldn't do it. So we did have one in DNF, but we also had a really long section of me talking about Hooked, and so hopefully that was fun at least. The sunlight will now bless this board. I kind of put a DNF section on the top. Anything that I never really finished reading will be up there. I don't think I'm going to be DNFing a lot of books in this series or in this kind of ongoing thing I'm going to be doing. I will be DNFing if I really want to. I think around 20-25% would be the good time to DNF so that I can give like an actual good attempt, but Carnage is going in the DNF section because I did not finish it. Next, we have Hooked. I think, like I said, I'm gonna make this a 3.5 rounded to a 3. I did like it. I think the ending was kind of like the biggest part that I enjoyed. The beginning was fine. I liked it. I mean, the smut was good. The dialogue during those scenes, very raunchy, but I liked it. So if you don't like very explicit wording, you wouldn't like the scenes in this. I think Hooked is going to go into, I think it's gonna go into like the lower dark romance, like kind of like where I expect dark romance to be. So now it is kind of where I think it should be. Corrupt is going to be in the lower shadows tier. It has dark elements, but I don't think it's like a real dark romance. I think it's touching into it, but not quite. It's more of like a really intense bully romance than anything else. But Hooked is definitely what I would expect a dark romance to have. It doesn't have anything extremely graphic, but it has dark elements in it. So I think that Hooked is probably pretty good in the dark category, but nothing so far has been in the bottom 2, which are like the really, really dark ones. Those ones I expect to be more later on in the other episodes, but right now I only read 4 books. I have liked Hooked the most, and I enjoyed my time reading it, so that is good. That is a positive. So far we are 1 to 3. I enjoyed 1, didn't really enjoy the other 3 very much, so I am not sure if it's going to be tallying up or not. I kind of would like to reach around 25% of the books I would enjoy, and the other ones, 75%, I don't really care if I enjoy or not. If I like at least a quarter of the books I read, that in my opinion is a plus. That means I think I can get into dark romance. It just depends on the books I read. Now, if I don't like many of them, if not any of them, maybe dark romance isn't for me. But like I said, I don't mind the elements. It just depends on how it's executed. The sun is setting, the lights are getting a little bit dim, I hope you enjoyed my video. I am very happy to be filming again. It's been 2 months since I started this video, and I'm happy to finally be on the end of it. There will be another video, of course, with 2 other books I'm going to be reading, and hopefully I will like them as well. I am definitely looking forward to seeing what those will be. I already forgot what they are, but I am hopeful that I will at least enjoy one of the 2. If you've been here this long, I appreciate you. I know this is like a series that's very niche. I feel like not a lot of people want to watch someone read dark romance that doesn't really know if they like the dark romance genre, so I appreciate you for being here and sticking with me. As I always say, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Hope you are getting some good reads in, and I hope to see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.